everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the all-new improved, I should say, Screamer Killer. Ugh. Yes, look at him. He's fearsome and lovely and massive. He's a very big boy, and he's been sent to me as part of the Leviathan box that Games Workshop very kindly sent to me early, and we're continuing our Leviathan box coverage. So we're going to jump in and start painting him. He has been primed in Wraithbone, as has the rest of our Tyranids. And the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 3 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Carroburg Crimson mix. And we're looking to apply this over the top of all of his soft, pale flesh. So this is areas such as this little bit here on his leg. Just like this. Now, because he's so big, we can actually just avoid applying this to areas where we don't really want it. So for example, this large knobbly bit on the back of his leg, we don't really want the Carroburg Crimson on there because that's going to be a slightly different colour. So we can just take our time here and apply this everywhere where we actually want it to end up. And as mentioned, that is going to be over the top of all of the, I guess you could call it the hard flesh. I think that's what I've referred to it in the past as. You got that when you look at the High Fleet Leviathan scheme, that sort of bony flesh area, very, very bright bit. And then you have the softer bits underneath that. And of course you have the really hard bit, which is the carapace, which we are just ignoring just for the moment. So with that done, we've now got a very pink Screamer Killer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh and we're going to apply this to all that kind of slightly softer flesh. So we've got these little sacs on the side of his head. Like that one. And we've got those areas in the joints that we talked about. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Magos Purple. I'm going to do a little bit of blending here. So we're going to start on the arms, because that seems the most logical place to do things. And what we want to do is we want to do a blend up the kind of this kind of outer shell bit here, and we want to do a little bit of a blend here. It's going to kind of be like in that sort of diagonal fashion, so it's not all the way up the arm in a consistent fashion, like this. So we're going to wash the brush because I've been talking, and we're going to take that Magos Purple on our brush, and we're going to start towards this end just here. So we're going to apply the Magos Purple. Like that. And we're going to apply it along there. Like that. And then we're going to wash the brush. And then we're going to smooth out those transitions. just like that. And we're just going to flip him over and do the exact same thing. Like that. So that's blend number one. The other one we're going to do is along the top of his head. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Magos Purple and we're going to apply it like this. Then we're going to wash the brush. And we're going to smooth out those transitions. Along there like that. I'm going to do it again on the other side. Just like that sort of thing. Finally, what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of kind of fleshy bit down here at the base of the tail. Like that. And what we're also going to do is we're going to pick out any of the little knobbles. On his arms and his legs. Like that. And then we're also going to do the same thing across these knobbles here like this. And you're going to pull these out a little bit further. Then we're going to wash the brush. And then we're going to smooth out those transitions. Like that. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 3-to-1 mix of Contrast Medium and Luxion Purple. And we're essentially going to go over the top of our blends, only a little bit less now. So I'm going to start up this end this time. I'm going to apply this to about half what we just did. We're going to wash the brush. And we're going to smooth out the transitions. Just like that. And so with that now done, we're now going to do a roughly 2-to-1 mix of contrast medium and Shyish Purple. And this is going to be the smallest one of these that we're going to do, and this is mostly reserved for the arms. So what we're going to do is we're just towards the base of the arms. We're going to apply the Shyish Purple like this. We're then going to wash the brush and then we're going to smooth out the transition like that, so it gets nice and dark towards the top. So with that all done, you'll be pleased to hear that the blending part is over. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the dry brushing part of the flesh. And so we're going to take some Wraithbone and we're going to start dry brushing this over the top of all of the flesh. Now once it gets closer to those areas that we've been doing the blending on, we want to go really gentle there. So for example, here on this chest, we're going to build this up until it's pretty much all Wraithbone. Like this, just passing back and forth over it. Like so. And then when it actually gets to the darker purpley bits, we're just going to do 1 or 2 very gentle passes over the top of it. Like that. Same thing again on the arms. Around here, we want to build it up quite strongly. When you've got large open areas like this, you can go in a circular motion, clockwise and anti-clockwise, to really build up that Wraithbone, as you can see, as it's starting to do there. But then once we start getting into the blended section towards the front of the arms, we're just going to very gently pass over it. Like this. Now we need a little bit more Wraithbone. There we go. So again, I'm just going to revisit this area. I want it to be a lot brighter. Same around here on the shoulder. Getting up to that kind of brightness that you can see just there. And then as we come down the arm, we're looking to gently catch the edges like that, and towards the elbow is where we can build it up again. So with that all done, we've got some pretty epic looking skin, even if I do say so myself. But it is now time to move on, and we've got a little bit of extra kind of darkness to do. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to take a roughly 3 parts Flesh Tearers Red to 1 part Sigvald Burgundy mix. And this is going to be for areas such as this kind of little area of the claws. Yeah, that sort of thing. Just make sure we do it on the other side as well, so we don't get any peculiar drying lines. Like that. And what we're also going to do with this is, when you look inside some of the kind of inside areas underneath the carapace, you'll have like this kind of sinewy section. So we're going to apply this over this bit as well. Just like that. We've got those bits underneath there on the front bit. We've also got some of it going on the back, just under there as well. Just whilst we're waiting for all of that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of any hooves, talons and claws. Completely forgot where I was for a moment there. I'm going to start just here. And so with that now done, we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Shyish Purple and Leviathan Purple, and we're going to use this on all of our purple carapace. Now what I've done is I've actually taken 4 brush loads of each, so it's technically a 4-to-4, but the mix is 1-to-1. And we're just going to pick a place to start, and I'm going to start just here on the leg. Now each one of these kind of 4 and 4 mixes should be enough to do a couple of different sections, but you won't get all of it out of one mix. Now if you want to not have to do quite as much mixing, you can add a little bit of contrast medium, or indeed Lahmian Medium, should you prefer, to improve the flow, make it last a little bit longer on the palette. It might come out a little bit paler should you do that. So if you do that, just go over it again with a second coat. Otherwise, crack on. So with that done, he's looking pretty close to being Warhipster battle ready, but of course he isn't, because there's a couple of things left to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson now. I'm going to use this to shade our red bits. With that Carroburg Crimson all applied, we're then going to take some Doomfire Magenta and we're going to apply this inside the Screamer Killer's mouth. And we're also going to apply it over his teeth. And with that all done, we're now going to take some Volupus Pink and we're going to apply this inside these little gaps. In the arms. Like that. And what you can also do is you can apply a little bit of this over some of the red as well. Particularly on the arms. So just before we declare him as Warhipster battle ready, because he looks a little bit silly, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Screaming Skull and we're just going to apply this over the top of the teeth, leaving a bit of that Doomfire Magenta towards the base of them. To give the impression of gums. So with that done, our Screamer Killer is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty fabulous already. However, we're not going to leave him there, no, because there's a couple of extra things that we can do to get him to that kind of true Warhipster battle ready kind of standard, but this is kind of next level stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Troll Slayer Orange, and we're going to add some of that kind of reddish hue that you can see on some of the black and a couple of the purple details. So what we want to do is we want to take the Troll Slayer Orange, and firstly up here on his head we want to apply this Troll Slayer Orange like this to the middle of these spikes. There's a little ridge. Along these. Like that. We have the same thing on the other side, of course. And you just want to occasionally have to go back over it a couple of times with Troll Slayer Orange because it is a funny old paint, this one. There we go. That kind of thing. We will do it on the other side, of course. But what we also need to do is right down here in the tail, you want to add a little line. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this on camera, but right down here, you want to add a little line. Troll Slayer Orange, like that. And on the other side as well. Like that sort of thing. And then similarly, on our large claws, what you'll notice is on the inside of them, you've got this kind of little, almost like sort of breather holes, as it were. What we want to do is we want to apply the Troll Slayer orange around each of the holes, and then as a line coming along like that sort of thing. And then at another point on the other side, there's a little gash here. We also want to apply another line of Troll Slayer orange coming along like that. And I want to do that across all 4 of these claws. So with that now done, we take Blood Angel's Red and we apply this over the top. And with that done, just to recover a little bit of the black to it, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm just going to apply this over the top of all of our black details. Like that. And then we're just going to add a little bit of Nuln Oil. Like that, over the top of the claw. So with that done, we are now going to make a start on the highlights, and we're going to start with the biggest one, and that's going to be all of the purple. The colour we're going to be using for that first is Genestealer Purple. And, well, the best way to do this is to start and work your way up the model. So we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to make our way up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at this end. We're going to start applying this as lots of little lines going across all the purple, like that. And you want to head in the direction of the armor panel. So in this instance it's pretty easy because it's facing downwards. But if you're unsure, I would recommend checking out the box art and the product photography, because some of these panels, it might be a little bit confusing. So for example, the ones on his head aren't in fact facing down, they're facing sideways. just make your way like this. As you can see, it doesn't take that long to do. Once you get in a little rhythm with it. Just like that. So with that done, took us a little while, but we got there in the end, and his purple is looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do is finish it off, and rather than doing Fulgrim Pink like we've done before, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Slaanesh Grey, as we want this to be a little bit colder, a little bit more subtle on such a big boy. So we're going to very gently dry brush this across the edges of all the purple. Still sticking with Slaanesh Grey, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little highlight to the tongue . Just like that. And with that then done, we're going to take a little bit of Flash Gitz Yellow. I'm going to very carefully apply this over his eyes. And so with that now done, we're then going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. I'm going to apply this to the sharpest points in all of our red orange. So for example, on those tiny little red bits just there. I'm just going to add a little tiny spot highlight towards the tip. Like that sort of thing. Whereas on our larger areas, such as these claws, what we're going to do is going to very carefully add a little tiny line towards the base, going down the middle of each of our orangey red bits. Just like that. So with that all done, we're getting closer and closer to finishing him off. So what we need to do now is we need to take a little bit of Bugman's Glow. We're going to use this to add a little bit of highlighting to these dark red areas. So with that now done, we're then going to take some Kislev Flesh. I'm going to add a little highlight on the inside of each of them. And so just to smooth those kind of fleshy highlights all together, we're going to once again take some Carroburg Crimson. I'm going to apply this over the top of all of it. So with that now done, we can move on to our last set of colours, which is going to be all the black details. The colour we're going to be using to highlight these first is some thinned down Sotek Green. I'm just going to pick out all the edges here, including on our black claws that have had a fair amount of red applied. And with that done, we've just got one last highlight to apply, and that is going to be some thinned down Gauss Blaster Green. And I'm going to apply this to the sharpest points on all of our black details. Areas that we want to look a little bit vicious. So like those cutting edges on the insides of the blades. So with that done, our Screamer Killer is now finished. I think he looks pretty fantastic. So we're just going to quickly do his base. And the colour we're going to be using first here is Black Templar. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the rocks. So with that done, we're then going to take some Shyish Purple and we're going to apply this over the top of the sort of growths. And with that done, we're then going to take some Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the top of the pipe. And with that done for my basing scheme, we're then going to colour in all of that negative space on the base with some Armageddon Dust. So with all of that Armageddon Dust applied, we're now going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to shade the entire base with it. Once all that Agrax Earthshade is dry, we're then going to take some Tyrant Skull and we're going to dry brush this over the top of the entirety of the base. Nice and simple. And all you have to do after this is add some tufts of your choosing and paint the base rim in the colour of the rest of your army. And for me, that's going to be some black.
And here we have it, the first of our truly big boys from the Tyranids side of the Leviathan box. The Screamer Killer, the real premier all-star of the whole thing, is complete. And I think he looks amazing, especially when you consider the original is very, very old model now. And we get this new guy who's absolutely fantastic, and really all he wants to do is give you a big, big hug. And can you blame him? Because you're really, really cool. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so. Head to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like these bosses have done, scrolling up on the screen before you, whose continued support helps me continue to make all the wonderful content that you enjoy. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button on the channel page or just below this video, like these wonderful, amazing people have done. And if you really like this video and you just want to shoot me a little thanks, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.